Hello, my name is Zuri. Welcome to Spring into Reading, sponsored by Legacy of Literacy, Incorporated. We are happy to present Detroit author Rochelle Riley, who will read from her new book, That They Lived, African Americans Who Changed the World. Enjoy Miss Riley's read aloud, and this spring, catch the reading bug. As our founder, Miss Alma Greer, would say, read, read.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Riley, Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Detroit, and I'm thrilled to share with you the book that I collaborated with Christy Smith-Jones on, called That They Lived. This was something that was a labor of love for the two of us because, quite frankly, we wanted to make sure that we created something for children. We wanted them to know that every famous person, every important person was once a child. And if you are a child, and if you're like 9 years old or 10 or 11 years old, and you can't decide what you want to be, know that you have the world to consider. You have every career to consider. And don't let anything about where you are when you're 9 or 10 years old make you think you can't. And you know who didn't? I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of the people in the book, Shirley Chisholm. She is one of my favorites. She's an amazing woman. And each of these stories, each of these biographical essays in the book begin when these famous people were children. Here's Shirley's story. Shirley Chisholm would grow up to be the first African-American woman elected to Congress and the first woman to campaign to be a major party nominee for President of the United States. But when Shirley Anita Hill was 3 years old, her family was so poor that her parents sent their 3 daughters to live in another country. Shirley was born November 30th, 1924 in Brooklyn, New York. Her parents were Caribbean immigrants. Her mother was a seamstress and domestic worker, and her father worked in a factory. Because of their struggles to make ends meet, they sent Shirley and her 2 sisters to live with their grandmother in Barbados, an island south of where they were. Shirley lived on the island until she was 10 years old. She was an excellent student. She later praised the strict, traditional British-style schools on the island for her academic excellence. She returned to Brooklyn and graduated from high school and attended Brooklyn College. She ran a daycare while she earned a master's degree in early childhood education from Columbia University. She also began working in politics. She convinced the parents of the children at the local daycare to help elect a judge. A decade later, she decided to run for office herself, and she was elected to the New York State Assembly in 1964. She was known for her fiery spirit and her efforts to help the poor, and in 1968, she ran for Congress. She said her opponent, the person she was running against, had not done enough for the poor. She won by a 2-to-1 margin. But she always talked about how hard that campaign was. I've always met more discrimination being a woman than being black, she said. Men are men. She spoke out across the country about how poorly women were treated, and she once said tremendous amounts of talent are being lost to our society just because that talent wears a skirt. In 1972, she decided to campaign to be President of the United States. People made fun of her, but Shirley was serious. She knew she was paving the way for others, and she said, the next time a woman runs, or a black person or a Jewish person or anyone from a group that the country is not ready to elect to highest office, I believe he or she will be taken seriously from the start. The door is not open yet, but it is ajar. Shirley continued to work hard, and she always was true to herself, and her motto was unbought and unbossed. That's Shirley Chisholm's story. It's one of the many stories in That They Lived. We want every child to know every famous person was once a child, and you can be whatever you want. Just know that these folks who did amazing, amazing things to change the world are important people, and all children should know that they lived. Thank you.